Albert Schweitzer quotes. Sometimes our light goes out, but is blown again into instant flame by an encounter with another human being. There are two means of refuge from the misery of life: music and cats. If you love something so much, let it go. If it comes back, it was meant to be; if it doesn't, it never was. Until he extends the circle of his compassion to all living things, man will not himself find peace. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. Think occasionally of the suffering of which you spare yourself the sight. Eventually all things fall into place. Until then, laugh at the confusion, live for the moments, and know everything happens for a reason. In everyone's life, at some time, our inner fire goes out. It is then burst into flame by an encounter with another human being. We should all be thankful for those people who rekindle the inner spirit. We must fight against the spirit of unconscious cruelty with which we treat the animals. Animals suffer as much as we do. True humanity does not allow us to impose such sufferings on them. It is our duty to make the whole world recognize it. Until we extend our circle of compassion to all living things, humanity will not find peace. Example is not the main thing in influencing others. It is the only thing. Joy, sorrow, tears, lamentation, laughter, to all these music gives voice, but in such a way that we are transported from the world of unrest to a world of peace, and see reality in a new way, as if we were sitting by a mountain lake and contemplating hills and woods and clouds in the tranquil and fathomless water. Happiness is nothing more than good health and a bad memory. I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know: the only ones among you who will be really happy are those who have sought and found how to serve. We are all so much together, but we are all dying of loneliness. At times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. The only thing of importance, when we depart, will be the traces of love we have left behind. In the hopes of reaching the moon, men fail to see the flowers that blossom at their feet. A man does not have to be an angel to be a saint. Man is a clever animal who behaves like an imbecile. He who does not reflect his life back to God in gratitude does not know himself. Just as the wave cannot exist for itself, but is ever a part of the heaving surface of the ocean, so must I never live my life for itself, but always in the experience which is going on around me. The tragedy in a man's life is what dies inside of him while he lives. The greatest discovery of any generation is that human beings can alter their lives by altering the attitudes of their minds. The thinking person must oppose all cruel customs, no matter how deeply rooted in tradition and surrounded by a halo. When we have a choice, we must avoid bringing torment and injury into the life of another. Constant kindness can accomplish much. As the sun makes ice melt, kindness causes misunderstanding, mistrust, and hostility to evaporate. Do something wonderful, people may imitate it. O Heavenly Father, protect and bless all things that have breath, guard them from all evil and let them sleep in peace. The question whether I am a pessimist or an optimist, I answer that my knowledge is pessimistic, but my willing and hope are optimistic. Seek always to do some good, somewhere. Even if it's a little thing, so something for those that need help, something for which you get no pay but the privilege of doing it. The purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others. Man can no longer live for himself alone. We must realize that all life is valuable and that we are united to all life. From this knowledge comes our spiritual relationship with the universe. True philosophy must start from the most immediate and comprehensive fact of consciousness: I am life that wants to live, in the midst of life that wants to live. For animals that are overworked, underfed, and cruelly treated, for all wistful creatures in captivity that beat their wings against bars, for any that are hunted or lost or deserted or frightened or hungry, for all that must be put to death, and for those who deal with them, we ask a heart of compassion and gentle hands and kindly words. Sometimes our light goes out but is blown again into flame by an encounter with another human being. Each of us owes the deepest thanks to those who have rekindled this inner light. Wherever you turn, you can find someone who needs you. Even if it is a little thing, do something for which there is no pay but the privilege of doing it. Remember, you don't live in a world all of your own. The doctor of the future will be oneself. No ray of sunshine is ever lost, but the green that it awakens takes time to sprout, and it is not always given the sower to see the harvest. Anyone who proposes to do good must not expect people to roll stones out of his way, but must accept his lot calmly if they even roll a few more upon it. Soldiers' graves are the greatest preachers of peace. I am life that wants to live, in the midst of life that wants to live. The tragedy of life is what dies inside a man while he lives. In the past we have tried to make a distinction between animals which we acknowledge have some value and other which, having none, can be liquidated when we wish. This standard must be abandoned. Everything that lives has value simply as a living thing, as one of the manifestations of the mystery that is life. If a man loses his reverence for any part of life, he will lose his reverence for all of life. The thinking man must oppose all cruel customs, no matter how deeply rooted in tradition and surrounded by a halo. When we have a choice, we must avoid bringing torment and injury into the life of another, even the lowliest creature, but to do so is to renounce our manhood and shoulder a guilt which nothing justifies. The demands of Jesus are difficult because they require us to do something extraordinary. At the same time, he asks us to regard these acts of goodness as something usual, ordinary. Ethics, too, are nothing but reverence for life. This is what gives me the fundamental principle of morality, namely, that good consists in maintaining, promoting, and enhancing life, and that destroying, injuring, and limiting life are evil.